Go watch your brother, okay?
Okay.
It feels like home.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another exciting Five Nights at Freddy's Character Explained video. Tonight we're going to be diving into the lore and story of Ballora in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Given that it is Mother's Day and Ballora seems to have a very motherly energy about her, I thought she'd be perfect for a Mother's Day special. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? FNAF fans would first get introduced to Ballora during the events of Five Nights at Freddy's, the Sister Location, with Sister Location being the fifth installment in the main lineup of games. Ballora was one of many animatronics featured at Circus Baby's Pizza World, being the sister location to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, hence the name of the game. Ballora resembled a big-breasted young woman dressed in ballet slippers with a dress, bra, and her hair tied back in a bun. Ballora is shown to be an incredibly graceful dancer on stage. Ballora's elegant performance is scripted along a track, which the animatronic will dance gracefully along. However, this is not Ballora's preferred way to travel. Ballora can actually leave the show stage and her track behind to crawl along the floor and walls like a spider, similar to how Mangle moves in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and is literally the stuff of nightmares when you combine that with her exposed endoskeleton skull having glowing red eyes and a mouthful of sharp teeth. This is literally the product of a deranged mind, and that deranged mind being William Afton. Whilst Ballora does not have a huge role to play during the events of Sister Location, she does have one notable appearance, and that is during a section in the game where the player has to run through Ballora Gallery. This is made even more nightmarish beyond the fact that Ballora is hunting you as you try to escape and move on to the next area. Ballora's music can be heard when she is close to you, adding a little bit more tension to an already scary scenario. Not only are you in a pitch-black room trying to avoid a killer animatronic, but you know that whenever she is close to you, her music is playing. Another notable and equally terrifying experience happens later in the game, in which game's antagonist, Circus Baby, puts us inside of an empty spring-lock suit inside of the scooping room. And this is where we actually get to see the scooper take down Ballora. Ballora is placed in the scooping room where she has her endoskeleton forcibly pulled out of her animatronic casing, and Ballora is left in quite a disturbing state, with one of her eyes still looking directly at the player. And if you thought the horror stopped with the destruction of the Ballora animatronic, you would be very wrong, as Ballora has 4 little animatronics that dance with her during her performances. And these things are called mini-arenas, and they are quite disturbing. If you have any fear of dolls, this is probably going to be a lot for you to take. These mini-arenas crawl up the side of Ballora to directly look straight at the player, as they are unable to do anything because they are trapped inside a spring-lock suit. And these things look horrifying. Just look at them. The mini-arenas are also shown to be able to talk to some degree. During the events of Sister Location and Ultimate Custom Night, the mini-arenas can be heard to laugh hysterically in creepy, high-pitched voices. On top of that, the mini-arenas are featured in their own short horror story in the anthology horror series Fazbear Frights, in the story Room for Just One More, in which a night guard working the night shift at Circus Baby's Pizza World accidentally swallows a bunch of mini-arenas while he is asleep, and these mini-arenas begin to talk to him while they are inside of his body, actively causing him pain each time they move around under the skin. I hate it. I just hate it. I don't like it at all. A version of Ballora also appears in Room for One More, in which the main character, having one of his many naps, has a nightmare in which she is strapped to a table, and Ballora, dressed as a sexy nurse, is attempting to perform a surgery on the main character to remove the minarinas from his body. And it is really disturbing. I don't like these things. They disturb me, they bother me. I don't like it. Ballora would also get a spotlight story in Fazbear Frights titled Dance With Me, in which a girl was down on her luck and she stole a bag from some old lady, and she felt bad about it at first but didn't really pay it too much mind. She found some really cool novelty glasses in it, which allowed her to see Ballora. And she thought this was really cool because it would show a holographic image of Ballora dancing, but it became stranger to her and more horrifying when Ballora would get closer and closer to her whenever she would debate bringing the stolen items back to that lady, and eventually it got so bad, with Ballora haunting her through the glasses and seemingly being able to interact with things in the real world, not just with the view of the glasses, she finally decided to bring the stolen stuff back to the lady, and the lady was really happy, and she actually made a friend out of this lady, and her life got better, and Ballora disappeared. And something I like about the anthology series and the way it deals with Ballora as a character is that she is one of the few instances of a character that isn't evil, or not specifically evil. Ballora in Room for One More is simply trying to help the guy that has a bunch of minarinas stuck inside of him, and in Dance With Me, Ballora is trying to get this girl to do the right thing and to get her life back together, and I think that's a nice change of pace from some of the more nightmarish and disturbing stories within the world of Fazbear Frights. A stylized cartoon version of Ballora would appear in a sister location mod for video game Friday Night Funkin'. I can't believe it. I'm talking about Friday Night Funkin' in a Five Nights at Freddy's video. What is my life at this point? Anyway, she's very humanoid in the Friday Night Funkin' design, and I think she looks good, but moving on. I want to briefly go back to Sister Location for a second to talk about the animatronics voice lines. I have briefly mentioned in the past that the animatronics can actually talk, but Sister Location was the first game that actually introduced the animatronics to have a voice. Scott actually gave the animatronics a voice to sort of talk to the player with, and Michelle Moss was brought on to voice Ballora, and it is as creepy as you can imagine. I think Michelle Moss did a great job. Here's just some of her voice lines.
All I see is an empty room. No joy of gratitude. It's so good to sing all day, to dance to fly away. Is someone there? Is it time for the show? I can hear someone creeping through my room. Perhaps not. All I do is dance alone, but now I hear your flesh and bone. I roam these halls alone all day, but now you're here, friend and prey. Save me a dance for another day, perhaps.
But that pretty much wraps up the Ballora Mother's Day special. Definitely a really creepy and cool animatronic, and I feel like the voice work on account of Michelle Moss really brings the character to life and just shows you how creepy this character actually is. But let me know what you guys want to see in the future. Do you want me to tackle more of the sister location crew, or do you want me to focus on more obscure characters or some of the main members of the Fazbear band? Let me know all this in the comments below. And with that, hope you guys enjoyed. Do take care. Happy Mother's Day, and I'll see you in the next video.